Does anyone else just hate those Lost UnTangled clips as much as I do? This is Lost Thoughts for episode 7 entitled The Life and Death of Jeremy Bentham. This was the episode we've all been waiting for. An episode that will hopefully give the answers that we desperately crave. An episode that had an anticlimactic ending with not a lot of information. This was the best episode ever! For reals! This was the best episode since The Constant. You just don't know Lost. No, I'm sorry. This was just a fill-in-the-blank episode, and it really didn't do it for me. The scenes from last week showed Locke hanging himself, showed him talking to the Oceanic Six in the real world, and showed the car crash. Yeah, we got some answers. And a lot more questions, but I tell you what would have made it better. According to the February 12th podcast, the producer said that Jeremy Bentham could have aired before 316. They were interchangeable. If The Life of Jeremy Bentham had aired before 316 like it should have, then there would have been so many more tense moments. We wouldn't know anything about the survivors of Flight 316. We wouldn't know anything about the pilot, or how Locke's body got on the plane in the first place. Then, seeing Ben at the end would have been a huge plot twist onto this episode. Let's assume that it's the late 1970s where Jin came upon Jack, Hurley, and Kate. How do I know this? One of the pages that Caesar was looking at was a photocopy from Daniel Faraday's journal. So Alana is the name of the woman who brought Saeed on the plane. Alana also mentions a woman by the name of Roxanne. Where have I heard that name before? You don't have to turn on that red light! So these are the survivors of Flight 316. The pilot and some woman ran off of one of those boats. Can we assume this to be Sun and Frank Lapidus? The only other woman we know by name is Kate, and we know where she is. After turning the frozen donkey wheel and waking up in the desert, Locke throws up just like Ben did. And that bone is still sticking out. Now I'm gonna throw up. Bite down on this! Ah! Okay, that wasn't too bad. This conversation between Locke and Widmore is very important. Widmore confirmed that he was once the leader of the others, and Ben convinced him to leave the island. Can Ben really be that evil? This foreshadowing comment was brought to you by Oceanic Airlines. Oceanic Airlines, we're not the only ones who crash on creepy islands with polar bears. If Widmore had a camera set up on the spot where people were dropped off after leaving the island, how come he didn't know when Ben was dropped off? Ben wants Locke to bring them all back. Widmore wants Locke to bring them all back. They both want the same thing, but they are against each other. What is this war that they're speaking of? Here's a thought. What if Miss Hawking is not on Ben's side, and not on Widmore's side, but she is staying neutral, just like Switzerland, and she is working towards the common goal of preserving the island? Richard said that Locke had to die. Widmore said that he was going to do everything he could to prevent that from happening. Does that mean that Widmore is not working within the best interest of what the island wants? Locke sure has a big phobia of wheelchairs. Matthew Abaddon is very creepy and so much fun to watch. Stop 1. Santo Domingo, Dominican Republic. Stop 2. New York, New York. I don't know why I'm still speaking in this accent. Okay, this confirms it. Walt is one of the people who had to return to the island. Can you believe it? Finally, some answers. But why didn't he go after Desmond? Walt has been having dreams about Locke. He's wearing a suit and people want to hurt him? Are you kidding me? What's going on? Question. How does Walt know the name Jeremy Bentham when he goes to visit Hurley in the mental institute? But when Locke meets up with Walt, he never offers the name Jeremy Bentham. Ben just gives the best stares. Santa Rosa, California. Hurley thinks that Locke is dead. I love it. Dude, don't look. Yeah, I forgot that Matthew Abaddon had actually visited Hurley in the mental institute. By the way, Hurley is drawing the Great Sphinx of Giza. Any thoughts on that? What is it you do for Widmore? He gets people to where they need to go. Remember, Matthew was the one who got the freighter team together. Los Angeles, California. Desperate to stay on the island because he didn't love anyone? False. I was obsessed. Look how far you've come. Kate's sarcasm is not at all subtle. Santa Monica, California. Jack. Helen died on 4/8/2006. This is within the time span of when Ben was off of the island. Matthew just got shot. No! He had answers! I love this introduction of Jack with Locke waking up in the hospital. Very nice job, writers. I also love Jack mid-beard, angry, and hairy. Seriously, how does Jack not realize that this is all fate at this point in the game? Jack really has some crappy bedside manner. Why does Locke write the letter to just Jack? A lot of people are pointing out that Locke looks like he has 4 toes while wearing this cast. No. Sorry, people. It's another ploy by the writers to throw us off, just like when that thing stuck in Sawyer's foot. Jack booked a ticket from LA to Sydney. We know that this is true. Jack had been flying when he had his big beard. Ben decides to kill Locke after finding out the information that he wanted. Why does he do this? Oh wait, yeah, this is the guy who shot Locke and left him for dead after wanting to know what Jacob told him. Ben doesn't really need much of a reason. Does Locke's death mean less to the island if he was killed rather than killing himself? Like Ben knew that if Locke killed himself, it would be for the wrong reasons, and so Ben corrected it. Then Ben sets it up as a suicide? Are you kidding me? Ben is CSI proofing the room. I'll miss you, John. I really will. Does Ben expect not to see Locke again? Caesar said a very important clue. He said that when Hurley disappeared, he saw a flash too. If Caesar saw the flash, doesn't that mean that he time jumped along with Kate, Jack, and Hurley? He's the man who killed me. That would have been a lot more of a shock if we didn't already know that piece of information. Next week's scenes seemed more exciting than this week's episode. Is 3 years long enough to get over someone? That was a fantastic line! If the scenes from next week can be attributed to Sawyer talking about himself, then we know that the Jin-Sawyer contingent has been living on the island for 3 years, and they have assimilated themselves into the Dharma Initiative. If all these things can be trusted, then we know one thing. Time on and off the island does not run faster or slower than the other. Thank you to everyone who responded to last week's question of the week, which was which lost you corresponds to which apostle of Jesus. I got a lot of information, and thanks to you guys and research that I've done, before the end of this season, I will release a special edition Lost Thoughts Bible edition. I will attempt to delve into the biblical references of Lost, and in doing so, I hope to shed some light onto who each character is and what direction they will be going. If we learned anything from the life and death of Jeremy Bentham, it's that Locke is a representation of Jesus Christ. What that means for his character and where he's going, only time will tell. And now it's time for Theory of the Week. I've been toying with this idea for a while, and Locke being raised from the dead actually gives some credibility to this theory. What if Charlie Pace was a founding member of Geronimo Jackson? Let's take a look at the clues. Charlie's middle name is Hieronymus, which is a foreign variant of Geronimo. Charlie died in the Dharma station known as the Looking Glass. Through the Looking Glass was the sequel to Alice in Wonderland. The 1951 Disney animated movie Alice in Wonderland was directed by Clyde Geronimo and Wilfred Jackson. Charlie has never heard of Geronimo Jackson, despite having an extensive knowledge of music. Locke, on the other hand, was a huge fan of Geronimo Jackson. We know this thanks to 2 episodes, the episode where Locke picked up the hitchhiker with the Geronimo Jackson t-shirt, and the other episode that had the flashback with inside of Locke's locker, it had the poster of Geronimo Jackson. Also, thanks to a conversation between Locke and Charlie in Season 1, we know that Locke loves Drive Shaft. And if we look at the Geronimo Jackson album cover, doesn't the guy in front of the American flag holding the bass guitar have a striking resemblance to one Charlie Pace in disguise? Question of the week. We know that Jin is already working some kind of security. Sawyer, Juliet, Miles, Daniel, anyone else who survived the fire arrow attack? What are they doing for the Dharma Initiative? Furthermore, what would be your favorite job for the Dharma Initiative? Next week's episode is called LaFleur. Apparently this is the episode we've been waiting for. Also, I'm looking for some kind of musical intro for Lost Thoughts. If anyone has a band that wants a little internet exposure, or if anyone can just put together a little short intro, I will promote you till my eyes bleed. Wait, that would hurt.